For a third straight year, states here in the U.S. are being forced to cut spending because of, among other things, falling tax revenue. A new report out just moments ago from the National Governors Association shows just how bad this fiscal picture looks. Tax revenue this year will be 12% below the levels back in 2008. And as a result, states are facing nearly $130 billion in combined deficits between now and 2012. Joining me now with more insight from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, is that state's governor, Democrat Ed Rendell. Governor, good morning to you. Thanks for making time for us. I know today is a key day for you. You are sitting down with other leaders from within your state to talk about how you are going to essentially pay the bills. You've got about $700 million in cuts proposed. How are you going to do this?
Well, the fortunate part for us is that our shortfall is significantly less than other states. It's around 4%. It'll probably be about $1.3 billion for the year, which compared to Illinois at $14 million, California at $25, New York 9, New Jersey 11, is pretty modest. We can make the cuts necessary without inflicting a great deal of additional pain. We've already made over $2.5 billion of cuts, and that's been painful. But we can continue to make cuts at the margin, and for us, $700 million is sort of at the margin. We need to increase some revenues, but fortunately, there are new taxes that the people actually favor. We're the only state in the union that doesn't tax cigars and smokeless tobacco, for example. We're the only shale state that doesn't have an extraction tax for the taking of natural gas out of the land, and the public supports those taxes, so we can have a balance of revenues and cuts and really make this work for this fiscal year at least. Next fiscal year, when the stimulus money falls off entirely, is going to be a problem. And as you know, Margaret, the biggest problem for many states is what would happen if the Congress doesn't follow the president's suggestion and extend the FMAP relief, the Medicaid relief that we've been getting from stimulus, for an additional 6 months. The president has proposed that. Both the House and Senate have passed it, but not in the same piece of legislation. That would add to our deficit.
That is a key conversation we've been having here and talking so much about. But give me a sense of what's ahead for us when it comes to job cuts within your state, when it comes to teachers and other civil servants. What can we expect in terms of layoffs?
Well, the good news is if we just have to deal with the $1.3 billion, we can get there with minimal layoffs or maybe even no layoffs, maybe some furlough days, who knows. But if we were to lose the FMAP extension, we would have to make up for that loss of $850 million by 10, 15, maybe 20,000 layoffs of teachers and state workers and policemen and firemen and caseworkers. And the irony of it is we've had 2 great months of job production. In the last 2 months, Pennsylvania has gained 55,000 jobs, I think second only to Texas in the country. So the momentum is going our way. In every aspect of this, every sector of the economy, including construction jobs and manufacturing jobs. We gained almost 5,000 manufacturing jobs just last month alone, 4 straight months of growth in manufacturing. That's a great sign for Pennsylvania. The manufacturing and construction job growth is due in great part to the stimulus program, which is starting to kick in big time in Pennsylvania. But to have that type of job growth and then to be forced to make an additional 15,000, 20,000 layoffs, makes no sense. It's counterintuitive.
I have to ask you, sir, about this new concern that's growing. Warren Buffett himself weighed in yesterday saying he's very concerned about local governments and states being able to pay their bills and raise needed funds. Specifically, he was looking at municipal debt. What are you seeing within your state, and do you foresee the federal government potentially having to step in to back up a state facing default?
I don't see that, and it's not at that point in Pennsylvania. One thing the federal government has done for both state governments and local governments is the Building America Bonds program, Margaret, where they pick up a significant part of the interest on municipal and state debt. Pennsylvania just sold on Wall Street the biggest bond offering since the recession, over $1 billion, and about 58% of it was Building America's bonds. We had our lowest interest rate ever, 3.1%. So those are good signs, and the federal government has helped. I think we're starting to see signs of recovery that will avoid many municipal governments from going into outright default.
And you still see adequate appetite for those Build America bonds, for those municipal bonds, from your perspective?
Oh, they've been a huge success at the state and municipal level, and I'm announcing today school construction, which is part of the Recovery Act. We're going to be getting over $500 million of interest paid for by Build America bonds, which is going to allow us to do 110 school construction projects, which the schools could not, the school districts couldn't have afforded without the Building America bonds.
All right, Governor, would love to continue this conversation sometime in the future. Good luck, and thanks for joining us.